Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I am the player who is playing under the name of King Under the Mountain. In the season with Toby, X-Hub and SDCC, we've been playing against a few kingdoms now, predominantly Home, Power and Drum. But we've also been attacking a couple other kingdoms as well now where Blue Kingdoms got involved. So as you can see from this, it is day 36 on the server. So I haven't done a little update for a while. So I thought I'd just get back into it because I've been a little bit busy. And just show the position of where we are. In the contribution rankings, we are currently 9th. We need a third capital to actually get away from this challenger title at the moment, which is a bit of a spoiler alert because we do already have the ring. And from a rankings position, personal ring, we actually finished second, as you can't cap out beyond level 150. Currently sat in 31 in production. I have enough tiles now to basically run what I'm efficient with, so I'm not too fussed. I've got about 17-18 tiles free, I think. In the production rankings, the fellowship I'm in, Toby, are top, SDCC are second, and X-Hub are third. So that is our entire kingdom in the top three. And as you'll see by coming down here, the Blue Kingdom have predominantly done quite well to catch back up. There's a little bit of the Purple Kingdom in there as well. And then we go into a bit more of the Black Kingdom, who, as you can see, Power have massively dropped off. So that's where we're currently sat. The season is in progress. Everything is done. The One Ring to Rule Them All has been completed. And we are currently sat outside Erebor, which is currently owned by the Black Kingdom. But we have taken the Scout Tower, so the area is now neutral. So we own the ring. A little while ago, the Black Kingdom didn't exist. That was about 7 or 8 days ago when we took Orthonk, which was their capital. They restarted their kingdom using Kinland. We also, the Black Kingdom, have Osgiliath as well. The Blue Kingdom have become quite prominent, and we've had some really big battles with them, actually. It's a shame that most of the reports have timed out, because I wanted to show you a Dain battle, which was against another Dain, but I can't do that now because it's timed out, so hopefully I'll get that battle again before the end of the season. My Dain just lost, but I did have a lot of tier 2 troops, so I'll be interested to see how that went. The Blue Kingdom seem to have flipped their strategy. They seem to be more now filling the south. The Black Kingdom seem to be quite sporadic at the moment and sort of trying to... They tried to come back through the northeast and stay in Erebor and go around that way, and then down into Mirkwood to get to the ring. But we've pushed them back up now, and I believe they're struggling with some availability, so we are right outside Erebor. And there is not a lot of defence at the moment, but we did take Lake Town and Dale yesterday and predominantly spent the day uprooting bases from around this side, because I think that is another war tactic as a quick tip. When bases are quite close to major keeps, your enemy bases are quite close to major keeps, it's really important to get rid of them. These are all bases around here because the reinforcing time would be so low that you just might never get to take the keep. So we spent a lot of time yesterday, things coming around here and sort of uprooting a lot of bases from particularly Home and Drum. However, cleaning seems to be pretty low on the agenda, looking at the amount of red tiles around, but that is what it is. It looks like we're just removing another base there. So if I have any siege in the area, which I don't, I might just send Dwalin over here just to help out with the siege if needed. As always, just a brief character sort of commander introduction. So Dain is still obviously level 50. He hasn't done much today yet, that's why he's got quite a lot of stamina. He just helped someone get a 300 tile a little while ago, and that's all I've done today pretty much. And kill some bosses because it's the weekend. So that's Dain's gear. I'm very close to being able to upgrade this helm to 1-star refined, which I'm quite happy about. Just a couple more days. It still does level 50, and I've really downgraded his gear from where it was, just for the simple reason that I don't think he's been actually overly effective this season. I don't know if it's just because it's a non-roleplay season. I haven't been massively impressed. I should probably start trying some Enfeeble or something like that, but with the Rangers and Dunedain build, unless you have the unique, it seems a lot of people just absolutely smash you through the floor. So I haven't bothered with that too much, really. Gandalf's the other level 50 I have. Again, pretty moderate gear, but he is literally just a tiler. And I've been playing with Faramir. And I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with him so far. I like the Dragon Tooth, and I like having Sentinels on him, but I am actually currently testing out Morgul Arbalest. But the problem with that is I'm getting plus HP, not plus attack, so I'm probably better off switching to the Wizard's Firework with Tactical Mark, really. So my whole army gets plus 3 attack rather than some getting plus 6. So I have liked his synergy with sharpshooters, and I'll sort of come on to that in a little while. Dwallin's level 50. I've been really impressed with Dwallin. I'll try and get through some battle reports later on. He's been really good, really solid, and one that I would definitely like to push a bit further in the future, probably towards Respect 25. And I'm looking forward to bringing Theoden out in the next couple of days. He will probably get my actual Dragon Tooth, I'm guessing, because I'm not going to give it back to Isildur at this point. And we will see how that goes. I think it could be quite interesting because he will get the plus attack on men, elves and dwarves. It's a bit of a shame it'll be plus 6 because of it being my main Dragon Tooth. It'd be interesting to see how the Hobbit Hunters do, because I'm a bit annoyed that they don't get a plus attack from that or any benefit from this. So I'm quite looking forward though to seeing how he gets on with that, because they get plus 10 attack naturally. I'll just show you that after this. So this is where my tilers are. I'm terrible with siege. I don't build a great deal of siege. I've actually been sieging mainly with this Aragorn, because I can put a Dwarven siege drum on there and get probably 230k siege with Guardian, something like that, which for me is a lot of siege, and I know for a lot of people it's not a lot of siege. So we'll see how that goes. But just to show you what troops are running as well at the moment. So in the barracks at the moment we have a full barracks, or close to full by the time everything's built. I still have 1,000 spirits which I haven't used, which I'm looking forward to trying out probably the back end of the season. Once this server goes quite dead, which I think it may be getting closer to now, I'll start experimenting with some troops. So I'd like to build more spirits. Predominantly though, my 3 archer units are Sentinels, Sharpshooters and Morgul Arbalest. I like the way the Sharpshooters damage stacks on Faramir for those first 2 rounds when Faramir uses Guide. So that's good. And I'd also like to get to using some Dale Watchmen, and I'll hopefully have these fully upgraded after hitting a few bosses this weekend, just to see how Faramir goes with a full men build. I've been running him quite cheap at the moment with some guards of the tower, but Swan Knights I've been really impressed with this season. I haven't used them since Season 2, which was over a year ago for me now, and I've really enjoyed it. I think they're a really useful troop, and they've worked really well with some troop comps that I've put together. So as you can see, I'm currently getting quite a lot of Shire Protectors in. Don't know how long they've got left, another 8 hours. I probably need more Guardians, really, I would say, unless I've got any sat on someone. And we've got plenty of Ram Riders, because I like using them in the Dain build that I use. And we've got quite a lot of Shield Bearers, so at the moment I do run 3 troops on Dain. As I've said before, it's the combination that I like. Only for this season, I think it'll be though, with having the unique, really, I should probably use 2 decoy units and full Guardians, or a full stack of something like Rams or whatever it might be. But I actually think it's harder to do that this season with the way the hire system works, with it being a Kings and Men season. So I've kind of been messing around with 3 troop combos, predominantly this one, which has worked quite well. You still build up the Dain unique percentage of damage increase quite quickly, but not as quick as you would, as you can imagine, with a single stack. But it means when I'm running into quite high skilled Dwallins, Hunt Down isn't killing me as much as what you would normally expect a Dwallin to kill you, because he's hitting multiple units rather than one. There are a lot of frenzy Dwallins on this server, so that's worked out quite well. This is Faramir at the moment. that base damage on sharpshooters is really good. Moguls have been quite fun, to be fair, but I haven't been massively impressed. I am trying to keep him cheap and cheerful, but after those first 2 rounds, he really can take a kick in. So I've been running a pretty standard faramir build, really. If I had Respect 17, I think it'd probably work a lot better, but then I'd be able to run something like a flanking or maybe even Gallant, try that out to get the extra might and speed. So we're running the rush skill, Armed Escort for the heal, and the fact that it's only a 1 round cooldown time. Guide, which is the massive percentage increase for the first 2 rounds, and we get some stun immunity. Hair's a bit of a lame title, really, with the fact that you just +7 defense, and I suppose it can stack every round, but it is what it is. And then nobility we're running because of the men archers, so the percentage damage dealt in them first 2 rounds is pretty disgustingly good, really, to be fair, when you mix it with a rend hammer and +6 attack from the dragon tooth and some other bits and bobs from here, so +3 from there. So that's Faramir at the moment. So that's kind of a little bit of the server update that I wanted to do. I think we'll probably spend the next few days around here, probably just taking Erebor and fighting away, and we'll probably see where we are. But the Blue Kingdom were in Selduin Vale, and we had some great fights in Selduin Vale. It took us a day or so to get through from sort of East Bight and across. Might have even took more than a day, actually, probably 2 days, because they used the ring debuff where we couldn't reinforce for a while, so that was a bit of an irritant, but we got through it in the end. But yeah, just going into then, I'm not sure how many reports I can show you, because if I sort of scroll up here, I think it stops around that Witch King, but there was all these reports that I really, really wanted to go through. But unfortunately, they've all timed out, and I can't use them, which is a little bit annoying. So I'll show you a few from here. Hopefully, that was the one that I really wanted to show you. That is a really good dain. It's actually better than mine. It's a Respect 18 dain with arguably similar gear, but some pieces are better and some pieces are worse. They also run a slightly different a combination to me in the skill setting, so it was interesting to see that fight. I think there's a little bit of RNG in it as to how successful it was. So I'll start with the Witch King fight. It's unusual for me to beat a Witch King, but in all fairness, it was a weakened Witch King. A good Witch King, but a weakened Witch King. Again, this 3 troop combo. The Rams die so early on these combos. Then we have a really good Isildur from memory. Yeah, it's a pretty good Isildur with Tactical Mark. Discord as well, so you get in the madness for the first 2 rounds. So Consequence agreed. And Discord probably aren't needed once that's refined one more. I'd probably use them points somewhere else, but up to the person doing it. So it's a nice Isildur. It's got some swans in there, and obviously the elves to sort of proc the Last Alliance tree. But what I will say is I prefer this build to the melee build. This is the build I used to run last season without swans. I used to run it with tower guards up front. So that was a good fight. As usual, Dane's doing his decent amount of commander damage. Theodens have seemingly been very prevalent this season, and Dane's really enjoyed taking them apart. So, you know, a fairly well built Theoden. But they just don't seem to do too much. I mean, 325k commander damage there. And I would suspect, just having a quick look through rounds 3 and 4, there'll be a lot of damage. If I can get to rounds 3 and 4. Round 3. Yeah, 27k first hit of Whirlwind. 28k second hit of Whirlwind, and that's on Dragoons as well, so that's pretty impressive. Round 4, what have we done in round 4? So all in 66k, still with Dwarven Grip because of the build that we use. Ironfoot only did 5k because of the 50% damage decrease. Lethal Weapon hit with heavily wounded, so that was another 5k. King Under the Mountain for 12k. Look at that defense, sickening defense. And then another 4.5k there roughly. So that is a big round again, and that is, like I say, what we've come to expect from dain, really. The big hits that people just don't recover from, and against cavalry, the really big hits. So another Witch King fight. This one was almost full, I would say, probably a few units down. Again, Witch King just hurts me because I very rarely wear the burn chest. If I wore the burn chest, that fight would probably be more like a 220k to me win, something like that, I would think. But this HP on this build as well, brilliant, really, because of the items that we've got, which buff the dwarves and the skills that we use. So this was a nice EMA with the unique, couple of stars refined. Obviously, the skill here, it doesn't really affect my build, which is kind of against EMA a little bit. Again, I suspect dain here has done quite a lot of damage. Yeah, 281k commander damage, so good hits. This was a nice Thorin from memory. Yep, Thorin with the axe throwers, which we've seen a lot more this season. I've never really been a big fan of axe throwers, I'll be honest, but quite a nice Thorin. A nice Calabash, but unfortunately it's got Bane of Giants. Not sure why you'd be using that this season, unless you think people are going to be running, I suppose it is a non-roleplay server, and people are going to be running things like chariots and things like that, so probably not making the most of his skills there against me. 296k from dain. So yeah, I personally think Thorin at Respect 25 is probably arguably the best of all the dwarf commanders, but it's that investment that I think puts people off, and the pain in between that I think's a little bit out of the norm for him. So this was only 169k for me in troops. That's the Gandalf, using more of the heal than I would like probably. But yeah, dain takes that fight down with only half health. This fight probably helped me actually, because King Under the Mountain will have procced a lot faster. So sorry, not King Under the Mountain. The helm and the 10% buff will have procced a lot faster with only having 2 units. So the amount of damage that dain can still put out even when he's half health is quite sickening. I was quite pleased with this result, because I do think this is one of dain's weaknesses, King of the Dead. Okay, it's not a massively well-geared King of the Dead, and I think if it was a massively well-geared King of the Dead, I think we would be struggling here because of the sort of physical damage debuffs. And the fact that they always deal focus damage, so they're avoiding all my armour. But I do think King of the Dead is a big problem for dain. This is an Eowyn with a lot of T4. Quite a nicely built Eowyn as well. I probably, from the build I run, go more into the damage tree. I've kind of not given up on this skill a little bit, but I like to think of more as a damage dealer if I try and build with the Respect 25 one that I've got. But yeah, that was a nice fight. Again, dain doing 344k commander damage. And the troops chipping in as well, to be fair, with 61k. That's not bad, really, all things considered. And Eowyn's heal was quite impressive, so we actually did 400k's worth of damage in that fight. What we got next? Another Theoden. I think this one was a nice Theoden. Yeah, another nice Theoden. Loads of T4 again. And dain sort of cuts it in half, really. 350k commander damage. Boromir, you don't see many of these running around, and again some T4 in there. Nice Boromir with the unique. Quite well built and high respect Boromir actually. And again, dain just chops him in half. King of Men, a nice King of Men, not quite full, but didn't really touch the sides. The only thing I'll say with dain, as usual, is you are losing. You do kill pretty much whatever you hit on the battlefield, but you do lose, 20 to 30 units of battle, particularly using the T2s, but you are taking an army off the battlefield. It's just whether you've got the time to reinforce. This was a nice Isildur with the unique 2-star refined. a really, really nice Isildur, actually. An interesting build as well, slightly different build to what I would normally see. So just using, I'm guessing, Aegis there. So I'm surprised there's no Madness, but I suppose if everyone running around using Madness immunity now, there's not so much call for it. Again, dain 276k commander damage. So another nice result there. And these are the kind of fights that I was hoping to be able to see as well. Some nice Gandalf the Whites. I had a feeling that dain would do really well against them, and he did. So this one's quite a nice Gandalf the White. I think there's an even nicer one down the bottom. This one's not quite full, but again, dain 306k commander damage. Balling, I've tried to go through different commanders here with what I've tried to put in this folder to show you, so you can sort of see how he gets on with against a lot of different commanders. He actually beats Retaliate Balling, but this one isn't a Retaliate Balling. So I would expect him to beat that quite comfortably, and he did. I'm not sure what damage he did, 292 there, so we've been looking at 250 plus, I think, in pretty much every fight so far. This was a nice fight against a Dwalin, and Dwalin is one of Dane's main weaknesses. Now, I appreciate I've got a lot of T2 in there and I'm not quite full. I think I'm probably 65, 66 units out of 75 there. It's quite a nice Dwalin, quite high respect. But yeah, we take that Dwalin down. Only just, but we do take it down. And that's where I think the 3-unit combo comes in quite nicely, because Hunt Down doesn't hit. This was the fight I was looking for, and I got it yesterday. That's a lot of T4. Appreciate I'm using a lot more than what I would normally use in regards to T3s. It's a nicely built Gandalf the White, and Dain absolutely trashed it. And I think people have told me before that they think Gandalf the White's one of the better T3s, particularly in non-roleplay. I appreciate this one's being played as roleplay, but Dain just destroys him, to be honest. And that was a lot of marshals as well. This was a really interesting report I've wrote interesting underneath. So the Reapers and the Alchemists with the Swan Knight build here on Gandalf really hurt me. Generally with Gandalfs you will only lose about 80k health, particularly even if it's a well built one. I mean, it's a nice Gandalf with Rend, Aegis and melee vigor, plus 3 attack and haste of soldiers. So that is a nice Gandalf. I would argue less in the grey personally and more in wizard, so I could drop the defense of my enemy a little bit more. And I think if he'd have done that, then again he's hitting me with mostly fire damage anyway, but the Reapers would have done more damage, so he might have actually even got closer to beating me, to be honest, if he did have that build rather than the heal. What did he heal? He only healed 8,000, so again, the grey not really doing much there. Thankfully, Dane's 240k commander damage saw his home. Barely, but did see his home. And then this is another Gandalf the White fight. Again, a nice Gandalf the White. Only level 48 against my level 50, but as you can see, same sort of result. Dain trashed him with over 300k commander damage. I wonder if I can show you in this report on what I mean about Hunt Down and Dwalin. So where is round 1? Okay, and this is what I'm saying. So if I'm a single stack, my 1 unit would take this extra damage, plus 24.7%. Now, with me running 3 units, I'm just taking advantage of sort of countering the Hunt Down skill. And it's the same with Khaldun, he's also got Hunt Down. I think Yusura might have it as well, actually. I need to check that. But this skill is really powerful. So if you are single stacked against Dwalin, he just heavily hits you. By running 3 units, it's kept me in the fight, particularly against Frenzy Dwalins, who can activate that skill twice in a round. So I'm not saying it's perfect, because it's not, but I do think that going forward, Dain with 2 or 3 units is probably not a bad idea. just to counter the Dwalins, which is actually one of his major counters, to be perfectly honest. So I might just guard here. See if I can get a little hit. Then I also wanted to briefly show you some Faramir fights. So I've been a little bit hit and miss with Faramir, to be honest. I've liked some, I've not liked some. Let's have a look where they stop expiring. So these are expired. I think that a Dwalin report's a nice report, actually. Okay, so this Gandalf is not full. But I think I was just short of a couple of units as well. And this is where I was using the Sentinels. So with the gear I was running, the +6 attack on the Sentinels is basically making their base damage pretty high. Plus then the fact that you're getting +45% from guide and things like that, it was quite good. But realistically, the Sharps are the ones that in those first 2 rounds absolutely pound the damage in. So I've quite enjoyed Faramir. He does a little bit of commander damage, but his troop damage is brilliant. And I think if I have a quick look, this will be with potentially some White Council, I'm guessing. Yeah, so with full White Council, even in rounds 1 and 2, I reckon I've probably done quite a lot of damage. So let's have a look. Unless, of course, they get avoidance. So that's minus 32%. So the Sentinels attack, they're still doing 12k damage with 32% against Iron Warriors. It's quite a nice hit. Sharpshooters, that's unlucky. Only did 974 damage and finished off the Iron Warriors. That's pretty unlucky for the first round, to be fair. Let's have a look at round 2, see if we do any better. So Sentinels do 12k there, to the Cataphracts, and 25k from the Sharpshooters. So that's the kind of damage that I'd expect. So you're looking at over 100k generally in the first 2 rounds. See what the next one is like. That looks the same. If I just put that against that. Anyway, move down one. This was a nice fight against the Khaldoon. This actually surprised me, because it's actually quite a nice Khaldoon. So again, decent damage really from the 2 of them. But once the front line's gone, obviously the range troops would have really struggled there. So just to have a quick look into those first couple of rounds of damage and see what we're looking at. Yeah, so Sharpshooters, 18k from the Sents, 26k from the Sharps. Decent damage in the first round, plus some damage from Faramir, and I imagine it will be a similar story in round 2. Yeah, so that's with 30% damage reduction, 26k received from the Sharps, and the Sents should have before him, and 22k from there. So you're looking at about 100k in the first 2 rounds. It's a different way of going about things to Dain, but then it sort of snowballs from there. So I was quite impressed with that result as far as it goes. I appreciate he's a well-geared Faramir, but against damage dealers, he seems to really struggle. I don't actually think that's a bad result against the Gimli personally, but again, the damage, I think they probably, if we looked into the report, they've just got to my range troops a little bit earlier, and we haven't been able to output that sort of level of damage. Again, fairly decent result versus a Gandalf. Not so good a result against a Gandalf, and this is when I switched to Morghuls. If you look at the damage, in fairness to the Morghuls, they massively outdamaged the Sharpshooters, so I should, I think, switch to the Wizard's Firework. I'll probably try that tomorrow. Absolutely pounded by what is a decent Dwalin there. And this wasn't terrible, considering... Again, I imagine the Morghuls have probably done quite a lot of damage because they do a lot of damage to the Dwarfs. Yeah, so these guys are great for damage. So I will probably switch to the Wizard's Firework and come back to that, I think. I haven't got a hit against any of these. I wonder how long is left in the draw. can't really move now either. Never mind. I will leave that person there. So it's just to give a little update really, and to show a little bit of an insight. I'll probably do more of an insight next time on Faramir, because I should have some more reports from him. Also, I'll do a bit on Dwalin, because I'm conscious I did say I was going to do some on Dwalin, and I haven't done here. He has done really well in the last few weeks, so I would like to show that, and the troop combo that I'm currently running, which isn't massively ideal, but I run some Swans, Guardians, and some Tower Guards, basically for the fact that they're all melee troops, so he buffs the melee units, and the Swans, even if it's only sort of 300-400 of them, take a lot of that damage early on, and allow Dwalin to go to work in the second part of the fight. So I've really enjoyed using Dwalin. But that is pretty much it for today's update video. So thanks for watching and listening and things like that. Hopefully do another one in the next couple of days, which perhaps be a little bit longer and look into a few things in a bit more detail. But if in doubt, as always, follow your nose.